Hello everyone, welcome to the Redmen TV. I'm joined by Omar from Citizens TV. The last time we saw you on the channel, you were a little bit upset after we managed to beat yous at Anfield. So, you know, I'll be honest, good on you. Good on you for braving the trip all the way into Redmen TV headquarters. How are you feeling since then? Because I think we've had a bit of an up and down time. Man City, it's odd that it seems to go from everything's fixed, everything's spot on, we're about to kick on to almost seeming catastrophe, although I think it's probably over-egging it to some extent.
Yeah, one defeat in the last 13, so the form has picked up a lot, but I know you sort of can't really predict how City are going to play this year. It's sort of like we've had incredible highs, like beating Barcelona, like that was one of the greatest nights in our club's history, and then like losing 4-0 to Everton away, that was that was a bit shit, to be honest.
It's because I think there's so much scrutiny on Man City because of the Pep Guardiola stuff. I think people expected he was hyped up so much. Look, he's a tremendous manager. Let's be perfectly honest.
Best egg in world football.
He's the what?
Best egg in world football.
Oh, that.
Yeah,
he's good. Yeah, he's up there with Raymond Van der Hayden, the fitness egg as well.
The egg will hatch on Sunday. The egg will hatch.
You think?
No, not really.
Not really. But the thing is, like, there's so much expectation there because everyone's going, oh, Guardiola is super good, just though he's going to come in and win every single game of football. And I don't think the scrutiny's, I don't think the pressure is unjustified because you've got some tremendous players, and I don't think it's beyond expectations for both yourselves and for the media and people outside to expect a little bit more from Man City this season. Title race looks like it's gone to Chelsea, hasn't it? You've now bowed out to the Champions League as well. Does that add extra impetus on this? Because the last thing you want now is to get dragged into an actual battle for top four.
Yeah, I think the Stoke game probably made this even more important than it was, because if we'd gone into this with the 6 points, the 6 point lead, if we'd have beaten Stoke, then it has sort of been like we had a bit of insurance if we in the event that we lose this game. But of course, we lose this game now. There's the 1 point lead. We still got the game in hand, but.
Against Man United.
Yeah, exactly. And also, I don't want to go and play Man United and know that we've got to win, because they're not going to play us a game of football. Yeah. They're such a cagey side. But I didn't really expect us to win the league this season. I mean, got to be realistic that it is a transitional season. But I suppose, yeah, did expect maybe a little bit more in terms of just a bit more consistency, sort of. And the start of the season was great. I think that was a little bit maybe making expectations a little bit more unrealistic than they actually should have been, because we had such a great start and we looked absolutely unstoppable. And then we went on that sort of bad spell of about 3 months. But again, I think we need to still take time to adapt to the style. And we have played some great stuff going forward. There's been some great patches of play, like against Arsenal the second half. Against Spurs, even though we didn't win that game, there were some excellent patches of play against United in the first half when we beat them. So there has been some really good moments this season for us, but it is about finding that consistency. And again, I don't think Pep's got his squad that he wants yet. I still think there's a lot of players in that defence that, or throughout the team really, I think that aren't really either fit his system or aren't really good enough for us. And people talk about we have the best squad in the league. I personally don't believe that. I mean, we start Kolarov consistently. I think you look at that.
Maybe, but yeah, look. I guess it's all about context, isn't it? I think in the context of yourselves, and you probably look at it and go, well, it's very. I think anyway, it's very easy to look outside and go, well, we could do with more. The case probably, I think the case that's always going to be levelled at Man City is, given the resources and given the quality of the players who are actually there, because let's be perfectly honest, I think everyone can look and say goalkeeping situation's probably been made worse.
Yeah. Claudio Bravo, best signing of the season for the other 19 teams in the league.
Yeah, absolutely. So that he's not got that right. The defence has been sorted. Vincent Kompany's just gotten worse in terms of his availability. Yeah. But in terms of the attack and talent available, that's up there with anything in Wales football. And even Gabriel Jesus, you can't really count him because he never really got going. But there's not a team in Wales football that wouldn't like a bit of Sergio Aguero. Sane seems to be finally clicking in the team as well. A lot of Liverpool fans hate Raheem still. I think he's amazing. I think he's really good. Kevin De Bruyne, David Silva, we'd all cut off a bollock to have the options that you've got available. So I guess you must understand it falls a little on deaf ears when some of the players we've had to field this season, but I do get it. You've got to have the right men for the job at hand.
It's not just the fact that I think we do need to improve in in the full-back positions, the way that the left-back situation, the way that's not been maintained is really, it's a joke, to be honest, for the level that we're aiming at. Gael Clichy and Alexander Kolarov. I'm not entirely sure Kolarov ever had a prime to pass. And Gael Clichy was good once upon a time, but he was never that top level. You got to look at age as well, but also we don't just need good, some better players. We also need like a certain type of player for that system, because looking at goal scorers, for example, or maybe someone just as like say for example a fullback, we could go for a good fullback, but would they fit the system particularly? And that's something that just makes signing players that little bit harder.
Oh no, well, we face a similar thing when you play a particular brand of football. If you want high energy, you want players to be physical first and foremost. You're right. That if there is a limitation to what Man City have got, you've still got a very old squad by comparison. Your best players are still the players who were your best players 3 or 4 years ago, and that's the spine really. You're talking Vincent Kompany. I know Yaya Touré's been in and out, hasn't he? But he was still the best player in the Premier League two years ago. Sergio Aguero, these guys are no longer 24, 25, 26. They're all starting to get toward the top end. And particularly Yaya Touré. You go and press Yaya. Go and press for 90 minutes. Nah, you're all right. I'll press for 2 or 3. Is that okay?
Yeah, I think he's improved. I mean, that was more his attitude last season. He has improved his work ethic. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of players that are getting past their peak now. And it's sad to see, really, because you don't want to let these guys go like Zabaleta or Kompany or Yaya or Aguero. But at the same time, if you sort of linger too long reminiscing about the past, you fail to realise the future. Yeah. We have got a great chance of having a great future and present as well.
Well, you can just look at that again. Say that in terms of the potential front line. Showed glimpses of Gabriel Jesus, looks a player. Again, Sané, Sterling, even De Bruyne. These are the guys who are going to be there for the next 3 or 4 seasons, hopefully. It's about filling the rest of the team out with guys who are up to that scratch at the other end of the pitch almost. Yeah.
And those guys have been leading from the front a lot. Like it wasn't that long ago that when players like Touré was still sort of trying to get up to speed a little bit. Aguero wasn't firing on all cylinders. It was the younger guys that were really leading from the front, and that's very encouraging to see. I don't back Raheem Sterling in this game to show up well.
He's due one though. We were laughing about it because he doesn't seem to rise to the Liverpool games at all. But that I go into every one of the games against City with that little inkling of fear that this will be the game when he grows beyond himself.
I think everyone at City, we'd all love it if he could get the winner or something. Just go full Adebayor, run the full length of the pitch. That would be brilliant. But
he'd get murdered. He'd get absolutely murdered.
Yeah. But again, I think Sterling he did improve a little bit last time he played. You did sort of get a bit of confidence about him.
I was thinking this about the game in general, and I know it came in a really. Obviously, it was in the midst of a really busy festive period, and particularly because we played a game 46 hours afterwards and whatever against Sunderland. But the actual game went it was a lot tighter of a game of football than they've been, particularly at Anfield in the last couple. And I think our recent form has been great. But that's why I'm personally nervous about this one, because you guys are kind of due a result against us again. Due doesn't count for anything. It's about the performances on the pitch. But again, you've a very good team. Klopp does have a good record against Guardiola. Yeah. We do have a good recent record against City. But I'm hoping that it's not the fact that it was only a 1-0 at Anfield. I hope that's not signs that we're starting to creep back towards Man City gaining the upper hand or whatever. To
be honest, I think this game does have actually the potential to be a big Liverpool win. To be honest, I think we are starting to see players like De Bruyne starting to he's been off the pace for the last few games, and I don't know. I just feel like the team's not performing at the level we were a couple of weeks ago, and also the burnout's a real risk because we've played like Saturday, Wednesday for the last 2 weeks. We've played about 4 or 5 games in the last 2 weeks, and we've barely rotated. You know, players like Fernando I would have expected to play maybe more, or Delph, or players like that. That's the backup players. They've not started the games, and we've kept putting out strong teams. And FA Cup, fair enough. I'd love to win that, but at the same time, I think Pep should have rotated more.
Yeah. Ultimately, when you consider the team that City ended up, the Huddersfield team that City ended up facing, which was I think 11 changes made to that team, you probably could have gone a lot weaker than that and still gotten the result. Just getting back to this game, then obviously you've had a big game and a big heartbreak in midweek. Is this one of those for you where you think get those same players out there again. See if that's been an impetus for them, or as you say, these players have played a lot of football in the last few weeks. Would you freshen up, and how would you go about freshening up?
Again, that's difficult. You don't want to put out like a really, a weaker team against Liverpool because you're, a very, very good side, and you play at an extremely high intensity, and that could in the end be our undoing if we do put out a good performance. That could be our undoing in terms of tiring. But I think, to be honest, I don't really want to say it, but Kevin De Bruyne, I think he hasn't been at the level that we usually expect from him. And again, it's difficult to make the change. I put Zabaleta in for Sanya. I hope he does play as well, because I personally prefer Zabaleta over Sanya. I think he's got a bit more of a warrior sort of edge about him. He just feels like he'd try to get to the 50-50 a bit quicker than Sanya. And also, I've got this image in my head of Zabaleta just 2-footing Milner.
Okay. Well, good luck with him. Good luck with him for that.
Yeah, would like it to happen.
Oh, surely he's got some affinity for old James Milner.
I like him, but it's just the fact that he kept on to have little digs at us after he left. Left City to be a winner. Every trophy he's won in his senior career has come at City. And there's like...
Fair play. Yeah, fair enough. Any more changes? Not likely.
I don't know. In terms of likely, I think Otamendi to come in for Clichy and put Kolarov at left back. I mean, it says something about Gael Clichy this season that I'd rather have Kolarov at left back over him. And Otamendi, he does go up and down. He can be absolutely horrendous in some games. But there are some other games where he's an absolute, he's just incredibly, looks like Maldini or something, or Baresi. He's like top level, and it's almost a sense of Vincent Who when he's in there, and he has a great game. But again, if you zip it round, he does have a tendency to go to ground more than I'd like, and very quickly, and that's the case if you can catch him out of position relatively easily.
Fingers crossed. That'll be lovely. What score do you think it's going to be?
2-0 Liverpool.
Fuck off! Really?
Yeah.
Fair play. I mean, I understand that this is over on Redmen TV. I mean, it's just to know if you. Okay, that's fine.
Change my score prediction on my other
Change on your channel. Yeah. I'd take a 2-0 to Liverpool all day long.
Can't really see us getting the result, to be honest.
Oh, brilliant. I like that. Leslie, thoughts then on anything that's been discussed? If you've taken in a Man City game or two, who do you think are going to be the danger men in your for you? And regards to the Kevin De Bruyne situation as well, is it worth Man City going slightly more defensive in some respects, maybe putting more in midfield instead of De Bruyne? Again, let us know. Please do go over and subscribe to Omar's channel. Absolutely fantastic up and coming Man City channel. I'll be over there talking through the Liverpool side of this football match as well. So yeah, click through, subscribe, and watch part 2 of this video, and ultimately, have more insight into a big game of football. What more could you ask for?